Hey folks, welcome back to another video of the Flutter Development course brought to you by Newton School. My name is Harsh Kumar Khatri and I am working as a Flutter developer at Alihoop, Sweden, and I have worked as an intern at Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and I have also worked as a Flutter developer intern at a firm named AppScript. I am also an educator and instructor on Udemy and Unix, where my Flutter development courses have more than 40,000 plus enrollments already, so you can check them out as well. And now talking about what Newton School is. So Newton School basically is a platform that helps you to learn and develop the skills that you need for your best tech career. There are courses specifically designed for freshers, working professionals, and for women with no prior experience in tech. Newton School first trains you for 6 months and helps you become a full stack developer. And they are also having a network of 300 plus great companies who hire directly from Newton School. So they also ensure that you are placed with one of the best companies in the country. They are also having a pay after placement program where you don't have to pay anything to Newton School until and unless you are placed with the minimum CTC of 5 lakh rupees per annum. And they are also having another amazing initiative known as Launchpad, where you don't have to pay anything to them and you will be getting some of the courses for free of the cost, and you can learn from those courses and also get a certificate of completion. And this is one of the cool thing which I like about them. So you will also be getting a certificate of completion to showcase your progress. So make sure to check out Newton School and Launchpad through the link given in the description. So in this video we are going to work on the home screen widgets. So in the previous video I have already shown you the initial setup which you need to do for starting with the app, and we have also started working on the home screen. In this video we'll be continuing the same and we'll be creating some more widgets for the home screen, and we'll be laying out the foundation for the same. So make sure to check the video out until the end, and without wasting any more time, let's start working on the code. I am adding the things inside a common lib directory only, but you don't need to do particular thing. I am just doing this because it will be like accelerating the process of making the app, and will be making the videos small as well for you. And but what you have to do is you have to check out the previous videos which I made on various different architectures, and you can follow those architectures for adding the things inside these apps and the screens according to the folder. Now for the completed items I'll be first importing material dart over here and creating a stateful widget of name completed screen. So completed screen it needs to be, let me just rename it completed screen. And inside the main.dart file I'll be going in the on tab which is present in the gesture detector, and herein adding a navigator dot push which takes a context, and the route set as material page route, and we can pass a builder, then an arrow function which will be taking us to the completed screen which we have just added. There is a typo, so completed. It is not accepting it. Oh, so I have made a typo over here. Completed screen and completed screen over here as well. We are getting an error for completed screen, so importing it and the error goes away. Now starting with the items, or like various different items which we will be having inside this body after this padding is ending. So at first we'll be checking if we are having the value of underscore edit visibility set to true. So if the value of this is set to true, then we'll be displaying a padding, else we'll be displaying an empty container. So let's add the padding over here. So padding takes a padding edge insets dot all with the value of 16, edge insets dot all with the value of 16, and for the child it will be what I'm doing for 16, and for the child it will be having a text field, and this text field takes a decoration for which we can pass input decoration, and inside it we will be adding a hint text for letting the user know what he needs to enter inside this particular text field. So enter text to be replaced / updated, and I'll be adding a controller over here as well. So the controller will be equal to my controller2, I guess controller2, as we have named it as controller2 over here, and adding a comma over here, saving it so that the formatting could also take place. And you can see over here how this edit visibility is looking. And similarly, I'll be doing a similar thing for the underscore visibility as well. So visibility underscore visible, it will be, if it is equals to true, then I'll be copying this padding only and pasting it over here, and the padding would be same, text field would be same, just that this hint text would be replaced to add. And after it, the padding is ending, we'll be having another padding over here. So let me add that. So padding h insets dot all with the value of 9, with the value of 9, and for the child of it having a container, and for the child of it having a center, for the child of the center having a text which will be displaying add new items, clicking on the plus button. Saving it so that the formatting could take place. Yeah, so now now up to what we have added over here is, we have first added an option to add the user, or allow the user to update the data which is present in a particular field when the user is selecting the update field, or when the user is clicking on the update option present on that particular to-do item. And we have also added a field for letting the user add new to-do items. So this will be for that particular purpose. And now we need to create the list where the data from the to-do list would be displayed to the user. So we need to create that particular thing. So for that, I'll be adding an expanded which takes a child as a container. For the child of this container, we'll be having a list view builder. So list view dot builder, which takes an item builder having a context and an index. And herein we'll be returning a padding, and this padding will be having a padding set as h insets dot only, and it will be having a padding of 15 from left and from right as well. Padding h insets dot only, left would be value as 15 and right would be valued as 15 as well. Herein it needs to get this, as we are returning the things. And I'll be completing this padding widget a bit later, but before that, let me add some more things inside this list view builder. So inside this, I'll be adding the item count, which will be necessary one, because if we are not passing the item count, then it may display the same items again and again. So that's why we'll be first checking if the value of this query rows is equals to null. If this is the case, then we want the length to be 0, else we want the length to be underscore query rows dot length. Yeah, so this length, and we need to add a question mark over here as well. Yeah, so after this, now completing this padding, so after this I'm adding a child to be a card over here, which takes a cross axis which takes a child as a column, and this column will be having the cross axis alignment set to cross axis alignment, set to cross axis alignment dot start. And let me save it once so that formatting could take place. And after this cross axis alignment, adding the children's which a column has. So the first one would be a padding, which takes a padding of h insets dot all with the value of 8, and this will be having a child set as row, having a main axis alignment set to main axis alignment dot space between, and this will be having multiple children starting with a flexible. This flexible will be taking a child as a text widget, which will be displaying underscore query rows and the index, and later on the name. So name would be the item name or the to do item which we have added inside it. We are adding a question mark to check if the value of query rows is not equals to null. And for the max lines inside this text, I'll be adding it as 2. So we will be displayed with only 2 lines at max inside this particular text widget. And for the style of this, I'll be adding a text style. So text style, and this will be taking a color, which will be equal to colors dot red, and font size would be equal to 24. And after this flexible is ending, I am adding another row as we need to add some items as well, which takes a children. And at first we'll be having a gesture detector, which takes an on tap. We'll be coming back to this on tap a bit later. Let's first complete how this gesture detector will be appearing to the user. So for the child of this gesture detector, I'll be adding a padding over here, which takes a padding as h insets dot only with the value of right with the value of 10 from right. And for the child, it will be having an icon, and the icon will be of an edit icon. So this will allow the user to edit the things which are present inside or which he has added inside the to do item. And now coming towards the on tap part. So inside it we'll be having a set state, which will be setting the state or updating various different variables available in a dynamic mode. So at first we'll be setting the value of the queried list to this to update ID which we have created, to update ID list which we have created above. And we'll be setting the value of this to underscore query rows, and we'll be getting the index from it, and after that the name, I guess ID rather than name. So we are getting that particular field only. And after that we'll be setting the value of underscore edit visibility to, we'll be checking if the value of it is equals to false, and if this is the case, then we'll be setting the value of underscore edit visibility to true, else we'll be setting the value of underscore visibility to false again. And also we'll be setting the value of underscore visible to false. For now, if you are unable to understand what all things I have done over here, so you don't need to worry about the same. I'll be explaining you once the app is in the running phase, and I'll be telling you about what all are the things which are taking place over here. And once we have completed this, we have to add another gesture detector over here inside this row only. So I'll be copying this gesture detector and we'll be pasting it over here. We don't need set state for this on tap function, so I'm deleting it. But for the child, we are having icon directly rather than a padding. So setting the things over here, and herein you can see that we are having an icon of type delete. So delete icon is there, and it will be having a color as colors dot red and the size as 30. Yeah, so the icon is pretty much fine, and now we need to work on the on tap. So as soon as the user has tapped on this delete icon, so it will be of a kind async, as it will be taking some time to get completed. So inside this async, we'll be first creating a variable of type int and with the name of I, and it will be having an await. We'll be getting the database helper instance. So database helper dot instance, and through this we'll be inserting the data inside our file. So it takes an insert, and we want the data to be added as completed items. So completed items, the completed items, and we need to pass some more things over here. So for that, adding a comma, and then we are adding the things inside a JSON format. So for that, the first thing which we need to add over here is a column name. So database helper dot column name, which will be equal to underscore query row index and the name. Rather than adding it here, let me add directly. So query rows question mark index and name. Similarly, adding the two different things as well. So we need to add the date time and the date time dot now comma copy paste, and let me delete this. So column name 3 would be having date time dot now, date time dot now dot to string, and herein we'll be having index date time, and this will be equal to column name 2, and it is still showing us an error. Quick fix. Let me go back to the insert and check why we are getting this error over here. So we need to add inside this insert, we need to add the table name as well, I guess. Where it is. So, oh yeah, herein we need to add the table name as well. So table name passed, and replacing this with table name passed. And now when we are going back to the main.dart file, the errors have gone away automatically. And once we have got all of these values and we have added the values to the completed items table, which we have created over here, so it will be adding those things to the completed items, completed on and completed items, which we have added above. So once it has added the fields to that completed items table, we can then delete this from the main file. This makes sense. So we'll be deleting this particular item from our main table, like the my table which we are having. So delete item. We need to create this function, and the item which we need to delete over here is query rows question mark index and underscore id, which we have just added to the database of to the table of completed items. And now let me create this delete item as well. So after this, delete item, and it takes the index of item to be deleted. It is of a kind async, and underscore, it will be first updating the value of underscore query rows. So setting the value of it to await database helper dot instance dot query all, and the table name would be my table. Copying it, pasting it again. So await database helper query all, but before this we need to perform the delete operation. So await database helper dot instance dot delete, and the id would be the index of item which we are getting. So index of item, and after that we are like updating the value of underscore query name again, and now we can set the state over here so that the values are updated on a dynamic basis. So I guess you have understand this much until now. Like I have explained you how the update function would be working, or how the delete function would be working, as in the first item would be added to the completed items table, and later on we'll be deleting that from the my table which we are having. And now we can add one last thing over here, which will be used for displaying the date and time over here inside this particular field of the to-do item which is being displayed over here. So once this particular padding is ending over here inside the column only, I'll be adding another widget of type padding, which takes a padding of type h inserts dot only, and from the left it will be taking a value of 8. From the right it will be from the right we don't need anything. From the top and bottom we need the value to be 4. So top and bottom 4. And for the child it will be having a container which takes a text, which takes a function which will be returning a text. So display date time from the index, which we will be passing inside this. And for the style as well, I can add various different things over here. So style text style. So for the text style I can add a font weight, which will be equal to font weight dot w500, which is an idle font weight which I am using for most of the things inside this particular app. And for the letter spacing, I can add the letter spacing to be 1.2. And now we need to create this data display date time function over here. So let me create that quickly, and after this delete item I'll be creating that. So it will be returning a string. The name of it would be display date time, and it will be taking the index of the data to be displayed. And here inside this I'll be creating a variable of name string. So it will be having the name as data to be returned, and it can be of type null, or I guess let it be over here. We don't need to add a question mark for this. And we'll be having another variable of name date, and it will be of a type date time. So date time, it needs to be date time. I have added data time, date time, name as date, and it will be used for parsing the data from the query rows. So date time dot parse, and we can pass the formatted string over here. So let me add that quickly. So we'll be checking if query rows index the date time dot substring. So if the first character of the date time substring is equals to u, which means that the field is having data related to updated field. So for that we'll be adding a u over here, and if this is the case then we'll be doing a particular thing, else we'll be doing another thing. Let me add question mark over here, and what we can say, this over here, we don't need this. So if this particular string substring will be equal to u, so what we are getting over here is the data related to the time when the user has updated that particular string. So we'll be getting those characters over from there on, and then we'll be parsing that from the date time, and we'll be later on returning it to the user in the form of a string. But if this is not the case, then what we can do is we can get a substring of character 6 from here, and it will be then used for like displaying the data to the user. And why we are getting this error over here, add null check, and I am having a typo over here. Let me add it to display data, and it is still not returning any string. So date, let me just quickly go through the code. Underscore query rows index date time dot substring equals to u. This is the case. Then query rows index datetime dot substring 8 else query rows index datetime substring 6. So the reason why we are getting over here is because we are having this question mark over here and we have made it as null. So that's why it is providing us with an error, and it is detecting that we are having two question marks over here. So we are getting an error for the same. Hope you got to learn something new from this video. If you did, then make sure to drop a like, comment down below what you would like to see in the upcoming series of the video, and share this video with the people in your community who want to learn Flutter. Subscribe to the channel to get all the latest updates related to the Flutter development course videos which are being posted on every alternate day. And make sure to check out Newton School and Launchpad through the link given in the description. They are doing amazing work, so make sure to give them a check as well. And yeah, this was pretty much it for this video. I'll be seeing you in the next one.